Hello and welcome to a pre-recorded Pop Culture Shark. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we have the joy question mark of reviewing beginning of Red Hulk's run in comic books. We saw that the Captain America movie came out. We said, you know what? I don't know much about Red Hulk. Let's read about his first appearance. And oh boy,
It turns out that they didn't have much to go off of.
yeah, we'll get to it. It's yikes.
Yeah,
Um, we're usually pretty happy to read comic books, and this week
yeah,
was just it was painful. So we'll be talking about Hulk 1 through 12 by Jeff Loeb here in a
and then that,
little bit,
and then that's it.
and then after that, Caleb did see the new Captain America movie featuring the
hmm
Red Hulk, so we will be talking about that towards the end.
hmm
But before then, Caleb, how's your week been?
It's been good. It's been busy. The reason that we're pre-recording on this lovely Friday night is because Saturday the fam is heading down to Florida, so it's really just been a week of uh, packing as well as making sure that the house is clean before we leave because. Um the thing that has been imprinted on me by my mother is uh, you don't want to go to sleep when you don't want to go to sleep when the house is messy because you don't want to wake up to a messy house. You don't want to leave on a trip while the house is messy because you don't want to come home to a messy house. So that is what I've been working on pretty much all week.
I wish
But
my family had that motto. That sounds like a great motto.
but yeah, other than that, yeah, we saw Captain America on Tuesday, and um, yeah, not much else. It really just has been a week of Red Hulk and packing. So it's been an ups and downs week.
I hear you. As for myself, hold on 1 second as I pull up this image. Do, 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 do. It's been a hectic week, but I actually watched two movies. Well, I watched a movie that I watched a reaction to a movie, which is basically the same thing. Um, so the first one is free on YouTube. I highly recommend it. Hundreds of Beavers is a independent movie that was made. If you like black and white slapstick, old Buster Keaton movies or Charlie Chaplin movies or that sort of thing, or Looney Tunes, I would recommend this a lot. It is about a guy that is running an apple cider bar, and it gets destroyed by beavers, and now he is wandering around in the snow trying to feed himself. Along the way, he meets a girl, falls in love with her, but her fur trapping father says that he can't, he can't have the engagement unless he brings him 100 beaver pelts. So that is your movie. It is a lot of very silly, very slapstick. I think if I had to do like a short review of this, I would call it delightful and stupid. Is would be my review. So if you're in just like a goofy mood, I highly recommend this one.
You
It
you lost me after Beaver pelts.
yeah, it's it's
What the hell?
it's a crazy movie. And when I say beavers, these are people walking around in mascot outfits that he's fighting against and
Oh
stuff.
my god.
It's wacky. It is so wacky, and I loved
Oh.
it. Listen, there's a point where he starts figuring out how to trap the animals and kill them and stuff. And so now there's like crime scenes, and there's like two beavers dressed as like Sherlock Holmes and Watson walking around investigating the scenes.
But they're people dressed up as beavers, dressed up as Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of, have you seen the commercials for this new Watson show on like NBC or something?
I feel like maybe I saw like a very brief teaser. I don't know anything about it.
So it is about Watson,
Mhm.
who I guess it's post Post a Game of Shadows, and I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about like the book. Post a Game of Shadows, where Moriarty and Sherlock Holmes have both supposedly died, and so Watson's trying to get back to a normal life, and so he goes to a hospital and starts solving medical mysteries.
Okay, so it's House,
It's House.
but House was supposed to be Sherlock, so now they're doing it again with Watson.
Yeah, but it's like literally Watson. It's not like it's not a Wilson spinoff. It's literally Watson.
Wow.
Yeah. That's neither here nor there. That just made me
Like
think
it's
of
like
it.
they missed the cleverness of House and just
Yeah.
went for yeah. All
Hey,
right. They missed
I
all the
could do
subtlety.
that.
No subtlety. We're just gonna go straight to Watson.
Yeah.
The other movie that I had the displeasure question mark of seeing a reaction to, Craven the Hunter. Whoo boy.
Yeah, this is one I'll probably never see.
So I'll tell you this: the action scenes are really cool. Action scenes are awesome, but that's like a quarter of the movie. The rest of the movie, oh boy. Um, there's like ideas in this movie where you're like, okay, with a competent director and writing, they could have made this movie work. But it's just like, I don't know if there was a lot of editorial interference or if this person never made an action movie or what, but it's. And I looked up the director. He's like an Academy Award nominated director. So I don't know what happened. The
uh,
Rhino,
I
the
mean,
Rhino is ridiculous.
well, here's the thing, and I'm going to get to this whenever we get to Captain America as well, because there's a little bit of that in there. Let's be honest, like there are some characters who just like you're not going to make them work in live action, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
I think Rhino's one. Here's the thing. I think that we've swung too far the other way when it comes to needing comic book accuracy. Um, I think you have to make some concessions
Well,
to live action.
it's not even just, when he turns into the Rhino at the end. It's the guy playing him was playing him so weird.
Yeah.
And there's like 5 villains in this from the comic books. Well, 4 and one is mentioned. The Jackal gets mentioned. So you got Craven, Calypso, Chameleon, and the Foreigner. The Chameleon's just at the very end. It's like a teaser at the end. But the Foreigner, who I don't even know anything about the comic books at all, he his scenes make no sense. Like he'll just start talking to somebody and hypnotize them, and the next thing you know, he has their gun and kills them. Like he does that over and over and over throughout the whole movie, and you're just like, "What? What is happening?" And it's just, I think every time Aaron Taylor Johnson's on the screen doing stuff, it's good movie. But when he's not on the screen, it just falls completely apart. And there's a lot of scenes where they're just telling you stuff instead of showing you stuff. And there's a lot of bad ADR. There's scenes where Craven says, "That's not good," but his mouth didn't move at all when he said, that type of thing. And so it's just a really poorly made movie that had potential.
So I
As,
have a
as much
question.
potential as a Spider-Man movie can have that doesn't have Spider-Man.
So let me ask you this: Foreigners in it.
Yeah.
Is he hot blooded?
Yeah, he's hot blooded.
Cold as ice?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
he played by a dirty white boy?
I
Is he,
don't think he was. I'm trying to remember.
is he waiting for a girl like you?
Yes, he is waiting for me. The actress played Calypso. I didn't think she was very good either. There's some really bad scenes of her. Like I said, it's uh so yeah. If you like Aaron Taylor Johnson, some cool action scenes, those parts are cool. The rest, if you want to laugh and make fun of a movie, this is a great candidate for that. Uh just a mess of a movie. So
I'm kind of hoping for Aaron Taylor Johnson as Bond with whatever Amazon's got planned.
yeah, yeah. If they ever did a Sinister Six movie for real, I would love to have Aaron Taylor uh, Johnson in there as Craven. I think that would be great.
So he did a good. Not only is he like, because here's the thing, someone can be good but maybe not right for the role. He's good as Craven.
He has such presence, just the way he walks, like he's stalking people. Just he's great. He's great in the movie. And then the rest of the movie is just
Okay.
so. Um, so let's talk about. We're gonna get to Red Hulk, but starting to talk about, we'll get to my rant of the week also. Um, so I've been reading comic books since probably 1990, 1991, somewhere around there. So a long time Marvel comics. So I know, I'm not bragging, but I know quite a bit about it. But trying to use the Marvel Unlimited service, trying to find the series that we're reading, is such a pain. It is the worst. And it's like anytime I accidentally close the tab for it, then I have to go and find it again. I can't remember where it was at. And so then there's 4 or 5 different Hulk series, and they're all they all start over with number ones over and over. And so I'm like, okay, is it this one? No, this is this is Jason Aaron's number one. Oh, is it this
Well,
one? Oh no, it's
and
yeah,
and then sometimes they renumber in the middle, so they go from like 48 to 500.
right.
Yeah, that's people kind of crap on DC for rebooting a lot, but like they don't do renumbering. I've always loved that they don't do renumbering, and renumbering's the thing that I hate the most.
Yeah, because they'll be like, their logic is, oh, a Hulk number one's going to sell more than a Hulk 648 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or
great. But then when you get to what should have been Hulk 650, they're going to switch back in the middle of the row. So go 1, 2, 3, 650, 5, 6, 7, and you're like, what? Or they'll do, this is issue 14. Here's 14.1, 14.2, 14. And you're just like, what are you doing? And it makes no sense. And it's impossible to find runs on Marvel Unlimited or in a bookstore. It's impossible to find a run. Like, okay, so like if you go down a manga aisle, and I'm like, I want to read Dragon Ball. I go to Dragon Ball book 1 and pick it up and start reading.
mhm.
If
Yep.
I want to read Amazing Spider-Man from the beginning, good luck. Or or the 80s or whatever. There's 1,000 Spider-Man books, and you have no idea what order they go in, unless it's the Epic Collection. But if it's the Epic Collection, they're printing them out of order, and they're probably sold out of the volumes anyways. So you
Mhm.
can't start at the beginning and read all the way through. It's impossible.
I'll go ahead and throw my hat into the ring here. I get not printing them in. I get the logic behind not printing them in order, which is they want to print the things that maybe haven't been printed before.
Correct.
But I don't think that's a good enough excuse. Like
Well,
like
if you're gonna do that, at least keep them in print. You don't, or they should have better. The numbering on the side should be crystal clear. It should say Amazing Spider-Man 60s 1 through 5, Amazing Spider-Man 70s 1 through 5, or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
Like it should be super clear what year or decade I'm reading, and I should know, where the story's, at.
there's a collection of comic books. It's the Batman Marshall Rogers collection. Which Marshall Rogers was he was an artist very similar to Neil Adams. So like he Marshall Rogers actually drew the Laughing Fish story. To give you perspective, so he had a very similar art style to Neil Adams. In this Marshall Rogers collection, There are no covers and there are no dates. It's really funny. Like I think on like the back of the thing it'll tell you like what uh what issues are collected, but like if you're just reading the book front to back, you're not getting covers, you're not getting dates. You're just it's as if it's one story, but it doesn't work because Marshall Rogers wrote he drew things decades apart with different writers.
Yeah, so yeah, it's so confusing. And so talking about the comic we're talking about today, the Incredible Hulk title.
Well, no.
Hold on. Well, I'll get there.
Okay.
The Incredible Hulk title been running along. They went through Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, and at the end of that story, he ends up in prison. Hulk does, Banner does. So the title, they just crossed out the word Hulk and wrote Herc over it, Incredible Hercules, and he took over the title. So Incredible Hulk became Incredible Hercules. Then they
Which
introduced a new Hulk title with the Red Hulk going on at the same time, and then Hulk broke out of prison, so he got his own title back. So he had Incredible Hulk, which was Incredible Hulk, and Incredible Hulk, and Hulk all going on at the same time. Ha- eh, nope. And
no,
then and then they're like, oh, now it's Indestructible Hulk, or now it's Immortal Hulk, and that's a little bit easier because if you tell me, oh well, so and so's runs Immortal Hulk, okay, I know which title to look for. It's a different title, great. But when you're just constantly changing the name and changing the number back and forth, it literally is impossible. And especially when you restart Hulk at number one like 4 times in the same decade. Just forget it.
yep.
There's no way. So you start a run, you go, oh, this is it. Oh, we're aborting the run. Oh, we're starting over again. Oh no, we're not finishing the run, and it's just blah.
There, you know what? It is so funny because when I was younger, I think it was about like 13, 14, something like that. Actually, it was probably about 14, 15. There was this YouTuber that I would listen to because he all he did was talk. His and the channel doesn't exist anymore. But his name was Blows Himself Up, dude.
Okay.
Yes. He went by Browncoat Eric. He eventually became Captain Logan's co-host on Geekvolution for a little bit. Um, so uh, I had heard his rant on renumbering when I was 14, and I'm 28, and it's still happening.
Yeah, they still have not figured this out. I mean, I just gave them a really simple solution, put the decade on the side and and number it one to whatever through that decade. It'd be a lot easier to keep track of. But
hmm
but it's they keep chasing this elusive comic book buyer that I don't know exists anymore. Not that if they see an issue one, oh, I'm gonna start reading it now.
I'm gonna go ahead and be mean. Um, the comic book buyer does not exist anymore.
I agree. It
Yeah.
is it's a rapidly dying hobby.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because I have friends who run comic book stores, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys are going to be around in 5 years. I mean, luckily they sell a lot of board games and other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's the thing is like if you run a comic book store, you kind of have to like get every comic book store at this point is also a figure store, also a board game store,
Yeah.
also a bookstore in general, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, there's no
Because if you think even Marvel and DC, if you think they're going to be around in 5 years, I don't know. I have no idea. I think they're the movies, the licensing, all that'll be around. But if the actual comic books will be around, I don't know. I don't know if the market survives much longer.
and we're getting into a completely different topic, but
Yeah.
I think they'll be around, but if I they will always be around, but they'll either power through and be what they've always been, or they're gonna change.
Yeah, I
Like
think something has to change. The other thing is their audience is rapidly aging out. They're not going to be around much longer. And
yep.
I'm 45, so I can't see me being 60 and being like, oh, what's happening in Spider-Man this month? Eventually I'm just going to stop caring. you know,
I don't know about that. I
I say that, I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe not Spider-Man, but I think you will always be curious what's going on with the X-Men.
Yeah, I said that. Now I'm kind of walking it back.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, yeah, there'll be something pop culture I'm still interested in.
Yeah.
That's just my personality. So this is supposed to be a short episode tonight. We're already way off track with this rant. So I'm gonna bring it
Can
to a
I?
close. Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
go ahead.
I'll be on. Well, I was just supposed to say, I'll be honest. I'm not gonna have a whole lot to say about Red Hulk because it just sucks.
All right, so let's get to Red Hulk. This was a book
This was
by
your
Jeff Loeb.
idea.
This was my idea. I remember, like, I used to listen to a lot of podcasts when this was coming out, and people would pick this like, oh yeah, this is our pick of the week. This is the best thing. They're like it's just fun. You just see Hulk using Thor's hammer, and it's fun. I'm like, was there just nothing else good out at the time that this was your pick of the week? Like I don't get it.
I remember whenever I first heard of Red Hulk, it was like I was at church in youth group. I think I was about 14 at this point.
uh,
There was this one kid who could draw, like he had like a notebook and he just drew Spider Man.
uh,
And one of the youth leaders is like, "Hey, next week come back with a Red Hulk," and I'm like, "What? A red Hulk? What? Like just color him red?" And so then that that's how I heard about Red Hulk, which I believe was this was probably like 2011. So
so
a little
this
bit
is
after.
yeah, this is written by Jeff Loeb, who, if you don't know Jeff Loeb, he wrote some movies in the 80s. You may have seen Commando, Teen Wolf, and then he wrote, a bunch of comic books. His more popular works are Hush and Long Halloween and the Marvel Color series. And he also was largely responsible for a lot of the Marvel television shows, working, behind the scenes as executive producer. And that's hit or miss depending on what you're looking at. The Netflix series are hit or miss pretty good, and then other stuff like Agents of Shield or Inhumans are not so much. So
And the thing is going with the Netflix shows, what I've found is the more involved he was, the worse the project is.
yes, yeah. So he likes to write mysteries. I've noticed he likes something that has a mystery twist to it. Who is Hush?
The
Who's
Holiday Killer.
who's the Holiday Killer? Who's Hangman? Who's this? Who's that? And so the
Who is
mystery,
still buying Jeff Loeb books?
so the mystery of this is who is the Red Hulk, and I mean, if you know anything about comics, you know that the answer to this is, and if you've seen the movie, it's Thunderbolt Ross.
I mean, if I'm being honest, you don't even have to see the movie. They tell you in the trailer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I like personality wise, it's clearly Thunderbolt Ross when you're reading it.
Yeah.
And he does the thing where you see Red Hulk and Thunderbolt Ross at the same time on an image. It's like, oh, I guess it can't be Thunderbolt Ross in a world where life model decoys exist and Shield every other issue. you know, if you've been reading any comics involving Shield at all at this point, you know that they use life model decoys for Nick Fury constantly. So of course the Thunderbolt Ross you see is a life model decoy. And I think that is such a hacky, cheap trope that gets used way too much
You know, that is
in
so
Shield
interesting.
Comics.
That is how I would describe Jeff Loeb as a writer, hacky and cheap. Oh my god.
Like if you read Hush, the big mystery is, oh look, Robin's back. Jason Todd. Oh wait, it's just Clayface.
Yep.
There's always a misdirect he throws in there.
Well, and then there's also uh-oh, Thomas Elliot just got murdered. Can't be him.
Hmm. Or Holiday, or what's his name, just got killed in Long Halloween. Can't be
Uh,
him.
yeah, Alberto.
Yeah.
Alberto's. I'm gonna. I just. Okay, so here we've always talked about like doing an entire show on Jeff Loeb, and we can. I'm just gonna go ahead and put this out there. He is a horrible writer. He is. How does he keep getting work? He is just. He's writing a Hush too. Who
Okay,
gave
so
him Hush
uh,
too?
pause real quick. Pause. We are not pause the podcast, but pause. Let me just say this.
Yeah.
Anytime we rail against any creator whatsoever, do not send them hate mail. Do not threaten
Yes.
their family. Do not, these people have lives. They have kids. I don't like it when people grab pitchforks and go, "Oh, they wrote a crappy X-Men comic. They must die."
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
Not
that
that.
is that. We're just criticizing the art. We have nothing against
Yeah.
him or
Yeah.
his family.
Yeah, yeah, it's not that now when and now here's the thing, when I say how is he still getting work, I mean,
Yes.
if you do a bad job at your job, you get fired.
Well,
Um,
he must. He falls his way up the ladder.
yeah.
I don't know. And maybe it's because, oh, look at me, I was involved in 2 major movies or however many. So you think, oh, he knows Hollywood. He knows how to get things done, and maybe, sometimes with people it's just that they can get the work in on time, and they don't cause conflict behind the scenes. So people just rehire them all the time. Like, oh yeah, Jeff's real easy to work with.
Well, if you look into the behind the scenes of the Daredevil show, you know he's also hard to work with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was talking in general,
yeah,
so
no, no,
I
I
don't
know,
know.
I know, I know. No, I mean, that's the thing. Is it's just that Jeff Loeb is an anomaly. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, with people like Jeff Johns getting canceled and not being involved in these works anymore. I mean, like, I mean, stuff that's going on with Game, and I'm not saying that Jeff Loeb, like, you know, hurt or manipulated, women in any way, but I mean, he definitely threatened the actor who played Nobu and also said, "We'll just replace you with another Asian. It's not like the people can tell the difference." Something that he
Wow.
actually said.
Yeah.
um,
So
so yeah, I don't know. I don't like Jeff Loeb. I've been
so
vocal about this before.
we're gonna briefly talk about the plot of this comic book. Basically, it's Shield, Maria Hill, She-Hulk, and I guess this is when Iron Man's the director of Shield.
Yep.
They are trying to figure out a mystery, who killed the Abomination, and they this the immediate suspect is Hulk, but Hulk is in custody. So did the Hulk somehow split off from Banner, which has happened before? Is this a new Hulk personality running around? They start figuring out this is a Red Hulk, and um, man, everybody is so out of character. The dialogue, everybody talks largely the same, and it is it's really bad. And the dialogue is so bad, and I there's a scene where Red Hulk attacks the helicarrier and it's crashing, and Iron Man yells, "Oh, the humanity!" Do you know what that's from?
No, I mean, like, I've heard the phrase. I don't know that was
It's
from
from
something.
the Hindenburg when it crashed. That's what the radio announcer yelled, was, "Oh, the humanity!" So he's making a Hindenburg joke when the helicarrier is crashing. So that's a joke that nobody's going to get unless you're around the 1930s, that Jeff Loeb has just put into his
So
comic book.
I mean, is he implying that Tony Stark is making that joke?
I guess I don't know. I only know about it because I think it was Conan O'Brien that would do "Oh, the Huge Manatee," and
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
so that's why I was like that. I was like that has to be a Hindenburg reference. I looked it up and it was like I didn't know it until I was reading this comic book, and when I saw that I was like that's a reference to something. So I
Yeah.
googled it.
Um. I yeah. I don't know. I I like Mark Millar, but man, he kind. I'm not gonna say he ruined Marvel for a couple years, but like Civil War was the catalyst for some bad Marvel for like.
Uh, there's some good ideas in there, and some books execute it better than others. I'll say it that way. And some of the characterizations are way off, like Mister Fantastic and stuff. And it sets some characters on interesting paths and others on really bad paths. It's a mixed bag. Um, like I think Avengers Initiative is pretty fun for a while. But anyhow, let's focus on this. So the first story arc, you also get Rick Jones turning into A Bomb, which is a new abomination. Why? Who knows? Who cares? It's never really explained why he's now A Bomb, other than just to have someone for Red Hulk to fight. And do you, do you watch wrestling at all? Are you familiar with wrestling or
I have a very limited knowledge of wrestling.
okay? So there's a lot of wrestling jargon that gets used. Like when a wrestler gets a big push, like they're pushing that character and they will job a character to somebody. So like you're
So
pushing
yeah,
Ultimate Warrior and you're
yeah,
gonna have
I
Andre the
know.
Giant take a
Yeah,
fall because you're trying to get Ultimate Warrior over with the crowd.
yeah.
That
So the jargon I'm familiar with, job, heel, face turn. Yeah, the jargon I do know.
and they
So
call it like a squish where like Andre the Giant's gonna get beat in less than a minute by Ultimate Warrior because he's gonna take a fall because they're trying to get Ultimate Warrior over. Okay, that's what this whole series is we're getting Red Hulk over by showing you that he's stronger and cooler than everybody else.
you know what's funny is now that you mention it, I didn't
Mhm.
notice it before, but this kind of does remind me of another Marvel storyline that was happening. It wasn't happening around the same time. I think this was maybe like a year or two later. Um, but that's exactly what happened with Spider-Man Big Time with from by Dan Slott with who was it, Phil Urich as the new Hobgoblin,
Yeah.
just killing Roderick Kingsley willy nilly.
Yeah, so like they're giving him a big push. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what this is. And Red Hulk comes across as so I'm gonna explain myself a little bit. I think masculinity is a good thing. You hear the phrase toxic masculinity thrown around, but I think in general being a man's a good thing. But then there is also the extremes, which would be your toxic masculinity, and that's what Red Hulk is. He's just an a hole.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think that like if you want someone masculine, look at Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity, that's Tate, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times people get that confused and think, oh, all masculinity is toxic masculinity, and it's not.
Yeah.
Um, so anyhow, Hulk gets free. There's a big fight, and then they lose track of Red Hulk or whatever. Then we get to this middle story, and
I also want to point something out. Um we have not let's be honest, we haven't said a whole lot about the story and we're already on like issue 5 or 6.
it's just fights. It's
Yeah,
just people fighting.
yeah, there's not a lot of whole so I did realize one thing. And I think this is gonna you might be upset with yourself about this now, because you've always wanted me to read Hulk. This is my first exposure to any Hulk comic book.
I had thought about that, and I thought I've got to. next time I gotta have him read a great Hulk story. But then I was like, you know what? He needs a break from Hulk after this.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: his dialogue is so bad. Savage Hulk is often referred to like as a simple Hulk. His dialogue is all very simple. Somehow Jeff Loeb made that even stupider. His dialogue's even stupider than normal.
You know what it reminded me of? I know you didn't like actively watch The Office, right?
No.
But there was this one like cold open in one of the later seasons where the big guy Kevin
Yeah.
decides that his mechanic doesn't speak a whole lot of English, but he's like his best friend, and so his mechanic knows whenever he says "car no go." um, and so he decides he's going to use less words, and so he's like, "Why use lot word when few word do trick?"
So there's an old Saturday Night Live skit where they do that, where they're like, "We're gonna teach you how to save time by shortening words and leaving words out," and it's yeah.
And my favorite thing is whenever they're like, well, sometimes we don't know what you're talking about. He's like, no, me fault. Save time, more success. It's like, and what are you going to do with all this time? See world. And they're like, are you going to see the world or are you going to see world?
Yeah, they're definitely copy that Saturday Night Live skit. That's
I, I,
hilarious.
I mean, it's NBC, so it's
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it them ripping it off if the people who made Saturday Night Live were also involved with The Office. So.
Yeah. Um yeah, so this okay, so we're gonna get to this middle story, and it splits into like two stories in one. One's the Green Hulk story, and one's the Red Hulk story.
I do want to point something out that's like I'm gonna give this some points.
Okay.
Um, it is not, and also it's not giving the story some points. It's just giving the book some points. There comes a point where you have variant covers. One is a red Hulk and one is a green Hulk. So
Yeah,
like
it's kind of fun.
like
Yeah.
it's like wrestling. Yeah, it's like wrestling where like you get the Hulk poster or you get the red Hulk poster, except it's
Y-
variant covers.
You know what this was? They were hoping that people weren't paying attention, going, "Oh, I gotta get the issue of Green Hulk this month and the issue of Red Hulk this month," not realizing they're both the same issue.
Yeah,
Is what happened.
yeah.
So the Hulk story involves a Wendigo breakout um in Las Vegas.
He's the guy who does all the religious videos, right?
Yes, yes. Wendigoon, yes. Um I love Wendigoon, so anyhow. Um so for whatever reason, just by being in Las Vegas, Bruce Banner changes to Gray Hulk, which is usually not how it works. And then later he turns into Smart
I,
Hulk just
I was
because whatever.
I was gonna ask about that because I think I just realized about how little I know about Hulk. So like, does he have like different? Is he like a Super Saiyan? Does he have different forms? Like he can turn into Gray Hulk, he can turn into Green Hulk, he can turn into Mister Fix It. Like,
Not usually not on command. Usually he was abused as a child. He has a multiple personality disorder, and
okay,
so his psyche's been shattered so much that all the different Hulks are different versions of his shattered psyche.
so has there never been a Hulk Moon Knight crossover? Because that seems primed and ready.
There has to have been. I don't know. Um, but so the Green Hulk story is fighting the Wendigos, and Captain Marvel. I always want to call her Miss Marvel. Captain Marvel shows up. Sentry and
I
Moon
will
Knight.
say one thing: I didn't realize that she was Captain Marvel this early. I,
She had to have been. What sure? I don't know. See, I don't know enough about Carol. I usually don't like Carol comics, but she was way out of character in this comic book. I was like, I don't know who I'm reading. This is not. Captain Marvel. Usually she's the tough, I know I'm in charge type character, and this was not it. Um, so I thought that was pretty insulting, but not as insulting as the Red Hulk story, where She-Hulk wants revenge, so she calls up all her superhero gal pals to make a super girl team. And many of them, or some are like, "Oh, I'm washing my hair," or whatever, and
let me find it. There it is. There it is. This
the
is the cover.
Libertines or Liberators or whatever they were.
I just honestly, I got the same vibe that I got at that scene in Endgame.
Yes.
It's like that. You know what it is. It's like they saw it. It's like they wanted to do a mini adaptation of this comic book.
So let me ask you this: when you get past like teams of 4 or 5, I guess I forgot about Sinister Six. But do you ever see a
I
team that
I
is
think
all guys?
I don't know. Well, first of all, I want to point out I think 7 is your sweet spot. You know,
Yeah,
set.
right. Well, I understand like there's teams of 4
Yeah,
that's
but
all
I know what
guys,
you
team 5. I think maybe the Howling Commandos in the 40s, which would kind of
mean.
make sense, where it was all guys, and then later they added girls. Um, it's just weird that the whole team is nothing but girls. And they did the same thing with A Force. I don't know. It just comes off as weird to me. I don't know.
Uh,
Or not maybe not weird as forced.
no, no,
As
I know exactly what you mean. But now you got my brain racking to see. I'm trying to think. Is there?
there's
But
usually at least one girl on a team. And I think this would have been funny if it was all girls and one guy. Like, why is there, why is it just,
well,
you
and
know,
like
flip the trope on its head, have an
well,
all girl team with one guy on the team.
oh no, no, no. But here's the funny. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's play a game. Who like this is the team right here. Let's just
Hmm.
say that you add a guy. Who you adding for maximum comedy?
Like Pip or not Pip, well, Pip the Troll or Puck, or like I think of a short, like, angry guy, like Howard the Duck or something. It doesn't like he's like I,
I no,
I got the wrong invitation in the mail.
I don't know. I was thinking like maybe a womanizer, but like super out of character. You know, like if
Like it's an evil a variant of Captain America that's a womanizer from the multiverse or something.
or or like put
Tony,
put 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 Namor on the team and like he's just trying to make Sue jealous with all the other women.
you put Iron Man on the team, but he's in a body cast, so he can't do anything with all these women. They're just rolling him around as an advisor the whole time.
He's just rolling around in his wheelchair. He's like, I was born with glass bones and paper skin.
But it's so this comic book is just very sexist, and I don't usually say that about things, but it's just
Mhm.
the dialogue, the
Well,
things all the girls are talking about, and
I
it
mean,
just
I think it's sexist on. I think we've already established that it's sexist on both ends because of the way that the Red Hulk is
yeah,
characterized.
and sometimes I think that's fine that you have an outrageous character that's acting that way. That's fine, but
A character.
yeah, not in real life. I'm talking if you're telling a story,
Well, no, no, no.
Um,
I'm saying like a character, not the entire cast.
yeah. And then I sent you the panel. I think we have the picture of it where Storm is just floating in
Oh
midair.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, that's not how Storm's powers work. She's not Superman. She, you know, she has to when she flies, it's gale force winds and stuff. So unless she has a tornado under her butt, she is not just floating in midair like that.
Which honestly, that would have been hilarious if like she was sitting on a tornado, like a mini tornado, like a stool.
Yeah, like the frogs in Zelda or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But this is
By the way, I'm still trying to think of a team with only guys. I'm having trouble.
I think Sinister Six is the largest I can go, unless you talk about like in the 40s, like the Howling Commandos or something. Um,
The thing is, the Sinister Six are a super villain team, which
yeah,
that's not. what we're going for. That sends a different message.
Mhm. Yeah. Anyhow, it's just weird. It's weird whenever they force this. Like, there's nothing organic about this team coming together. It's
Also,
just random. It's
yeah,
just
and now that we bring it up, let's talk about, well, could you make it organic? Absolutely.
sure.
The Mandalorian season 2, at the end of during the finale, whenever Mando goes off and does his own thing to find Grogu, you're left with Cara Dune, Bo Katan, and the other man,
The
like
other one.
uh the Sasha, what's her face from WWE,
Uh,
and Fennec Shand. You've got
yeah.
like a team of 4 women, but like it was natural, and you didn't notice it until like Mando left, and it was just them 4.
I would be curious to go back and look at, has She-Hulk even teamed up with some of these characters before? Like, has She-Hulk and Storm ever teamed up? I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Uh
It's
you,
kind of like the Kitty Pryde saying she was Jean Grey's best friend or whatever, and you're like,
oh yeah,
y'all have never been in the same comic book before.
yeah. Oh, what was the line? Oh, how did you how did you learn all this about your telepathy? I learned it from you.
Yeah.
You were dead by the time I came around.
So one of the things we kind of talked about, we haven't mentioned, is Red Hulk's just doing all this outrageous stuff. Like, there's a scene where he fights with Thor, and because Thor is holding onto the hammer, he can also hold onto the hammer. They end up in space, and because they're in space, now he can use the hammer because it's zero grab. I don't know, just a lot of weird stuff. And so, like, if you're reading this like a Jerry Bruckheimer movie, like, oh my gosh, did you see that? It's, just the spectacle, then maybe I could see you getting sucked into some of this, but it's just really bad.
I mean, that's kind of where we're at with the MCU, is the spec. Like, okay, I'm about to make a lot of people angry. Go ahead, explain to me Cap picking up the hammer in Endgame.
Well, Cap picking up the hammer it's alluded to. That is earned, I think.
I I I
He is worthy.
I I
Steve
I th-
Rogers would be one of the few worthy people.
I think it's earned, but I don't think it was intentional,
Well, I
because
mean, it's from the comic books. It's
yeah.
happened. It's
Well, so if you remember like I think it was like Joe Rousseau said, oh yeah, he could always pick up the hammer. Um, he could always pick up the hammer. He was just faking it in Age of Ultron to make Thor feel better. Um, which I don't like that answer at all. Um, there is another answer that I liked that was never considered, apparently, which is the fact that he was keeping a secret from Tony all these years, and it wasn't until that secret came out and he confessed,
yeah,
then he
that he
became
was
worthy.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I
It
mean, like that's the thing, is just like like someone picking up Thor's hammer that's not Thor. It's all spectacle.
Yeah. So I say that because later we see Red Hulk flying around on a Silver Surfer surfboard, and it's just kind of like I said, it's like a wrestler getting a push that they don't really deserve, and the whole crowd is sick of them, and
Red
that's what this
Hulk,
series feels like.
Red Hulk is Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Roman Reigns.
I know a
What it
little
is.
bit about wrestling.
Yeah, that
I know
that's
I
exactly who I was thinking about.
I know I don't know who Roman Reigns is. I just know that they pushed him and people didn't like him.
So the final story is the story I actually kind of liked. I don't know if you felt the same way or not. This is the Defenders versus the Offenders, which is the stupidest name. Um, like this was like like the Tick cartoon, villain name. Then it's funny there, but it just, I, ugh.
Well, and do you know what that reminded me of? It reminded me of Thor Ragnarok,
Uh huh.
because if you remember, the team of Thor, Hulk, Valkyrie, and Loki. He called them the Revengers.
Yeah, and
Like, at least
that's
that's supposed to be slapstick. This is supposed to be serious.
yeah, and so this is a competition between the Grandmaster and the Collector, and that's fine, that's fun. And they're plucking these characters from different time periods, and I think Grandmaster is someone collecting the Green Hulk team. He's picking them all from moments where they lost loved ones, so he's promising them all that they will get their loved ones back. And I know you don't know Hulk that well, so you didn't know who Jarella was and all that, but
Nope.
um, basically there was a point in I think it's the 70s where Doctor Strange zapped Hulk to, I think they were called the Crossroads or Crossways or something, where he was like wandering from dimension to dimension, and he found a home where he fell in love with this girl Jarella, and they had a kingdom, and he was happy, and then she gets killed or whatever. Um, so this is, she gets brought up every once in a while. Jarella does. So um, this is a Hulk that he got to pick his team. So he's picking it members of the Defenders, which was a comic book in the 70s. Namor, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, and so I know Caleb was thrilled that Namor is in this comic book.
So I was gonna have you guess, because I'm like, I wasn't a fan of these 12 issues at all. But if I wasn't a fan of this specific storyline, I want you to take a guess. You know why?
Well, it's Namor, yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but
it was.
I thought of these three, like if you split it into three stories, this whole run, 1 through 12. This is the third part. I think this is the best of the three.
I agree, but I think it's because
I'm not saying this is a masterpiece or anything. I'm just saying that I at least got some enjoyment out of reading this compared to the first 8 issues.
I'm not gonna say that this is good. I'll say it's the best of the three arcs, if we're gonna call them arcs.
Yeah.
Um, and the only reason with that is because at this point, Jeff Loeb is just in the backyard playing with his action figures.
Yes. That is what
Um,
this whole 12 issues is.
well, so that's what the whole 12 issues is. But like it's, at least with this story arc, it's the point, because that Grandmaster and Collector are in the backyard, getting their action figures together, and oh man, my Hulk is better than your Hulk. My Hulk dad can beat up your Hulk dad.
Have you ever heard how Jeff Loeb writes a comic book?
I'm gonna assume. I'm gonna assume. While he's asleep. Uh,
Well, he takes a legal pad because it has about 22 lines on it, and he just writes down what's going to happen in the comic book. Each line is a page in the comic book, so he fills it all out, and then just sends that page to the uh, artist, and then when he gets it back, he just adds dialogue to it.
so you're telling me that he writes comic books the same way Feige writes a movie?
Pretty much.
Oh man, no wonder he's still around. He and Feige are best friends.
I know that's kind of the Marvel method or whatever, but
I've
still,
always, I mean, I've always hated the Marvel method.
yeah,
Like, like, cause like if you go back and you read the Stan Lee Ditko Spider-Man comics, there's a lot of dead air.
yeah.
Which, funny
Or
enough, there's a lot of dead air in this.
so, I said I like this one better, the better, out of the three, but all the heroes rapidly lose, all get killed, and Red Hulk starts killing his own opponents. Now there's some fun where they throw in like Psycho Man or whatever his name is, and Dormammu and stuff, but it just quickly devolves into Red Hulk's just killing everybody and stealing everybody's powers, up to the point where he's going to go challenge Galactus, and at that point, it should just he should have just turned the page and Galactus just zaps Red Hulk and he's just a pile of dust. Is how the comic book should have ended at that point, and it doesn't. It's very frustrating.
No, 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 no. Do you know how this? Do you know how this comic book ends?
How?
It ends with us not reading the other 12 issues.
Yeah, that was our decision after reading this. I think it would have been 13 issues because it turns into a 600 in the middle there. So it's technically 24 issues and that 600, whatever. And I just physically, I could not make myself do that again. Mentally, I could not read more of this.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Yeah,
So
this was supposed to be a two-parter.
yeah, yeah. So sadly, there will not be a Red Hulk part 2. Now I have heard that once Jeff Loeb leaves the book and Jeff Parker takes over, it gets better.
It's not saying much.
But
Dude, Matt Fraction's Batman is going to be amazing following Hush 2.
oddly enough, this is not what I would consider Jeff Loeb's worst work. It is bad. His Wolverine run is way worse with Romulus and all that nonsense.
Oh, if I were to pick Jeff Loeb's worst work, I'd have to say Ultimates 3.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
So I mean, those would be the contenders. This
Yeah.
Ultimates 3, Wolverine with Romulus, where you find out that all the lupine characters in Marvel are related. So Sabretooth, Wild Child, Feral, Wolfsbane, Wolverine, they're all part of the same wolf family, and there's ancient wolf people led by this Romulus who's a mastermind. It's crap.
Here's the thing. I understand that I'm the only person who kind of likes the spider totems, and even that's too much for me.
Yeah. So I will say, I will couple of notes real quick before we move on from this. At the end of this, Grandmaster gets killed. There's a running gag where Red Hulk keeps punching the Watcher and punching gods and stuff like, "Oh, haha, look how strong I am." And I think the Grandmaster gets killed at the end, and the Collector's like, "Well, I could bring your loved ones back, but it's a different when it's an Elder." So I was curious, like, okay, well, what happened to Grandmaster after this? Oh, he just shows up a year later in Dazzler comic book. No explanation how or why. So apparently it's not a big deal when an elder dies. They just come back a year later because no one cares. The other thing I was going to mention, oh, how does the Red Hulk storyline end? Because eventually there's a different Red Hulk. Which I didn't know until I was researching this. They replace it with a different guy, and this Red Hulk actually has a mustache.
That's the twist.
That's the twist. So eventually, Red Hulk dies, or Thunderbolt Ross dies, whatever. And so I was like, okay, well, I know he's still around. So I looked and like, but it was a life model decoy. I was like, son of a, really, Marvel? Really? Ah. Anyhow, okay, so
And Betty Ross is Red She-Hulk for some reason.
yeah, there's a part in this where the Green Hulk gets attacked or A-bomb somebody gets attacked by harpies, and I think it's from the 70s where Betsy Ross or Betty Ross, whatever her name is, would turn into a character called the Harpy, and that's why they said, "Oh, these all have Betty's faces." That's a reference to. I don't know. I hate it. I don't like Betty having powers. I hate it. So it's like giving Mary Jane powers. It's stupid. Have you okay? Oh, have you heard the news about Gwen Stacy?
I mean, the funniest thing is like, okay, so I don't even like Gwenpool.
No, I hate Gwenpool. I don't get Gwenpool.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. I don't like, but I actually do get Gwenpool. I get the joke. The joke is that Gwenpool is her name. She has nothing to do with Gwen Stacy and has nothing to do with Deadpool, and that's the joke.
Yeah.
And now we have lost the joke because it's Gwen Stacy as Deadpool.
I'm just getting more and more frustrated. Okay. So maybe some goodish news. Let's change the subject. This news broke like right before the show started. So I will pull this up. Oh,
Okay.
before I do that, if you want to read a good Red Hulk or watch a good Red Hulk, watch Venture Brothers instead. Their version of Red Hulk way funnier. Where he's a general that got PP cancer, and the way they cured that was by giving him gamma rays and turning him into the Red Hulk. It's way funnier. Um, so
Did they
Venture,
ever? I guess I don't know. Well, did they ever explain why or how Ross became Red Hulk?
yeah, the intelligentsia, which I think was the leader, and Doc Samson did it to him. So I think that's kind of like the plot in the movie. Maybe I haven't seen the movie. I have no idea. Um, something about when World War Hulk happened, they siphoned some of the Hulk's energy and put it into Ross or something. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know. Anyhow, this news broke right before the show started, but we have a release date now for the next Spider-Man movie. It will be July 31st next year. And I've lost the page. Hold on. So Avengers Doomsday will be out in May, and then the Spider-Man movie will be 2 months later, July 31st. So,
Oh.
oh no,
Well, I'm just like, I mean, like, have they even started filming?
no. I mean, I think that they've probably got the script finally figured out. And now they're making the hiring the peoples and to get everybody in place. But
There's no way they have that script figured out.
well, something to start at least start shooting. Um, I'm going to guess that either in November or February there's another movie in between these two, like a Doctor Strange movie. I'm going to assume um, that hasn't been announced yet. My
Which
money
is,
would be on Doctor Strange because they got to set up the Secret War stuff. So
well, like, also weird because, like, I mean, we've talked about like the missteps with Doctor Strange before. I feel like Doctor Strange 3 should have been before Doomsday.
yeah, someone mentioned I think today that Captain America: Brave New World should have really been a Avengers movie of them building the new team, or it should have been a Captain America movie where he's gathering the new team or something. Because you're gonna have to jump into Avengers Doomsday and already have a team formed and bring in the Fantastic Four and whoever else, and uh, I, I, I'm so frustrated tonight, Caleb. It's my own fault
I'm
because
getting
we read Red Hulk.
I'm getting so angry.
I'm furious.
And then you just turn into like a little monkey.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Furious from Mystery Men. It
Yes.
makes me furious.
People who don't chew with their mouth closed make me furious. Oh man, pardon me, fatty. If you want to eat cake, you ought to use a fork. You might
You
just as well shovel it in.
you want to be the master of your anger, don't
Your
be.
rage become your master.
Yeah,
That's what you're gonna say, right? Not exactly.
not exactly.
Oh man, that's, you know what? I know we've both seen that movie. That might just be a movie that we have to like revisit and talk about just because we want to give it some exposure.
Yeah, that's our palate cleanser when we get to go watch Mystery Men. Anyhow, all right. So let's talk about. We've talked about the Red Hulk comic book. Let's talk about the Red Hulk movie.
Yes, and Cameron and I were talking about this tonight. This really is, well, it's weird because it's actually more of it's a Hulk movie without the Hulk, but at the same time, it's not. Um, so other than Sam, Isaiah, and Isaiah, and Joaquin, everyone else is a Hulk character.
Yeah.
Like,
I, I'm surprised they didn't go all out and bring in She-Hulk and maybe even Bruce without powers or something. Like, just make this a complete Hulk movie with just like if you made it where Banner doesn't have powers for some reason and the Red Hulk's going to kill him and Falcon has to protect Banner or something. You
yeah,
know?
but that would involve Red Hulk being in the movie for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I'll go ahead and let you know. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the extent of Red Hulk in this movie.
Yep.
Um, here's the thing. Uh, is this a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes bad movie? I don't think so. Is this a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes bad movie? Yeah.
Well, you're looking at the percentage scores wrong. The percentage is how many
Oh,
people liked it. You
yeah,
know.
I know. Yeah. Which more or less, actually, here I didn't think about. I didn't think about getting this pulled up. I sent it to you. I have my new updated tier list.
Mhm.
So I'll go ahead and get that pulled up. But essentially, this is a movie that I actually was really digging. I actually quite liked this for the first half because
That's what I've heard. The first half is decent.
yeah, well, the first half is really good. Derivative because it is pretty much the same exact plot of Civil War. Because essentially you have Sam Wilson, who is Captain America, and he's got his new sidekick, Joaquin Torres. I will say one thing: a lot of people have been saying that Joaquin Torres is really annoying as the new Falcon. I actually like him. I don't see how he's annoying. He's sidekick material. Um, which that probably has more to do with people don't like sidekicks more than they didn't like Joaquin. um, and then um, Isaiah Bradley, which I will. One more thing. This is actually not Captain America 4. This is Captain America 5. More so than any other movie before it. This is one where you actually have to watch the show that preceded it. Um, like you could get by in Doctor Strange without watching WandaVision. This one you really do need to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier before watching this, because I'm the only one in my family who watched it, uh, and there's a lot of like emotional stuff with Isaiah Bradley that like you very much lose without knowing who he is.
Mhm.
um, so uh, essentially, they get invited to the White House because they have discovered uh, a new mineral on Celestial Island because we're finally bringing up the space baby. Uh,
Yeah, so that's another thing you have to watch before this is Eternals.
Here's the thing. This is what did I say on Facebook? What you're telling me that the movie with heavy connections to the Incredible Hulk, Eternals, and Falcon and Winter Soldier is ass? Shocker. Color me surprised. Oh
Uh,
man, it is something. And so uh they've discovered adamantium. Adamantium is in the MCU now. Congratulations. Um and so they're at this summit and they invite Captain America and Falcon because they're the guests of honor, and they end up inviting Isaiah Bradley, who is the second Captain America. Um, and there is something that triggers Isaiah, and he has an assassination attempt on uh, uh, President Ross at this summit. This is all sounding very familiar because it's
mhm.
just Civil War.
It's the plot
Uh,
of Zoolander.
that's really what it is. It is that's what Cameron said. It was like the plot of Zoolander.
Mhm.
um, and so Then you've also got a villain Sidewinder played by Giancarlo Esposito, who is he is always fantastic, but it's unfortunate that he's been wasted on a Serpent Society character.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he would have been a better choice for the main villain. Which let's go ahead and get to that. The reason this movie sucks is because as soon as they introduce the main villain, I mean, it loses me. Uh, so it is Tim Blake Nelson, Mr. Blue, Dr. Samuel Stearns from the Incredible Hulk movie. He is back. He they never say he's the leader, but he's the leader. um, and the makeup looks really bad. It is MODOK levels. Um, my mother, in the middle of the movie theater, as soon as he showed up, she started laughing in the movie theater.
Always a good sign.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it wasn't like honestly, it was actually worse because it wasn't like she didn't commit to it. It was more like he appears and she go ha, oh, and then she got to like she had to like suppress it because there were other people in the theater. Which, by the way, I couldn't really gauge if like people were on our side or not. I didn't know if other people were digging the movie. Or if they were not digging the movie. But like I said, it is up until this point. Uh, it's essentially this movie becomes a bad movie when the leader shows up. Tim Blake Nelson single-handedly ruins this movie. His performance is awful. Um, he he is the epitome of the all according to plan villain. Um, Like Zemo kind of had that issue too, but Zemo was cool. The Joker is like the most well written because I mean honestly he is kind of doing it as he goes along. Uh, but like they're just so upfront with it with the leaders. Like there was an 80% chance that you would turn around and go save Isaiah. You have disappointed me. Blah blah blah. Like he's always talking about percentages
Hmm.
like and like that that's why he's so smart. um and so then like the issue is like so he was like Ross's think tank.
Hmm.
He was Ross's think tank for like all these years. He kept him like under wraps. uh and and this is another thing I don't understand. Apparently, they used him as a scapegoat for what happened in Harlem in the Incredible Hulk. Because they're like, well, with what happened with Hulk and the Abomination, someone had to take the fall, and I'm thinking, wait, why? I thought Abomination took the fall.
Yeah.
I thought that was the point. But apparently they needed another scapegoat, and so apparently they've been keeping. He's been keeping. He Ross put Stearns in the hole, and he threw away the hole. And so he had him develop all these weapons for the United States government, and then Ross starts dying, and so he has him create like these pills that he takes 3 times a day that keep him alive,
Yes.
and for some reason he trusts him. uh,
Oh.
but here's my thing. Here's another thing that I don't get. Um, they said that he's been doping him with gamma radiation through these pills for several years, and he's been slowly raising the dosage. That that does not line up with what he has said, because he says that there comes a point that leader says that there came a point where he realized that he was never being let out. But at the same time, he's also the smartest man who knows all about these percentages and stuff. Like he has foreseen it. The force has told him whatever. Um, and so uh, and, I'm like, So have you been doping him this entire time, or did you just start doping him? How long have you been planning this? Could you escape at any time, and you just stayed there of your own volition? Because he escapes, and it's not like he escapes because of himself. Like it's not like whenever Sam and Joaquin find him, it's not like they like their presence help him escape. No, he could have escaped at any time in the past. Incredible Hulk was in 2008. At this point, we're in the year 2030 something. So
That's just so dumb. Yeah.
yeah, like he could have escaped at any time. And his makeup looks really stupid.
And I think I read that he wanted to do practical effects and not do CGI. That's why he looks that way. I don't know.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is what I'm getting at. I think we're going too far with trying to look comic accurate. Because I even think that the tall head would have looked stupid. Um, they should have just made him green and give him like green glowing eyes, maybe a mustache. Um, I don't think we needed like. Then Cameron said this. He's like, but then how would we know he's really smart? And I said, because he keeps talking about percentages and oh my god. No, legit. This is actually a pretty good movie that is ruined in the middle of the movie by introducing the main villain. like like this is actually pretty good, and then as soon as the leader shows up, this movie turns to shit.
There you go.
It's so and then there's a scene where it's kind of like the scene from First Class where the Japanese and the Americans are both approaching Celestial Island. And so now we got a First Class scene where we got to make sure that they don't start fighting. And so uh, uh, Sam and uh, Sam and Joaquin like are starting to, you know, and then Joaquin gets shot out of the sky because he's not good enough yet. Um, and After that, that feels like the climax. Honestly, this movie could have ended with the Red Hulk never showing up, and then out of nowhere, in the middle of Washington D.C., the leader appears and turns himself in. He escapes only to turn himself in. Uh, and so then they start playing Mr. Blue, which is a song apparently, and that's the trigger. And then the reporters start questioning Ross heavily about um, like things that they should question him about. He gets really angry. He turns into the Red Hulk, um, and then people start shooting at him, which I also don't understand. You know, like if so, if Incredible Hulk was in 2008, and at this point we're in 2030 something, why are we still shooting at the Hulk? You
Right.
know, um, yeah. The reason I'm going into so much depth is because he's never going to watch this movie, so I need him to know the suffering. Um,
I heard it was pretty ridiculous that the main country rival is Japan and not Russia or China or
it, it,
he country wasn't upset because of political reasons. So we're gonna
I
make
mean,
Japan the main
I mean,
bad.
honestly, that didn't bother me because it could have been Canada for all I care. You know, it like whoever it was in the context of the story didn't really matter. um, but then Falcon uh, Falcon fights Falcon fights Red Hulk. Um, and by the way, throughout the whole movie, I'm questioning how Sam survives any of this because even though he's got a vibranium suit, he didn't take the super soldier serum. So all that vibranium suit should do is keep the blood in, you
Yeah.
know. But then he and the whole time, the whole movie, it shows the purple charging up, and like he never uses that part of the vibranium suit, like Black Panther, and then finally he uses it on Red Hulk, and then it also doesn't work, and so he has to talk him down. Like, they didn't say this, but they might have well said, "Hey, big guy, sun's getting real low,"
Yeah.
you know.
Sun's getting real low there.
um, like, here's the thing: they had brought up Betty so much that I honestly thought that they were going to bring in Betty and she would be the one to talk him down. That would have made more sense. In fact, I think that's probably what happened. But then test audiences are like, wait a second, but Sam didn't do anything this whole movie. Yeah, he doesn't do a whole lot. um, uh, and then the president takes responsibility for all his actions.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
um, and you know, he finally gets to make and then Liv Tyler shows up. She's there because she plays Betty. And then Sam is like, "Hey, Joaquin, we got to start the Avengers." And Joaquin's like, "Yeah." um, and then Isaiah Bradley is let out of prison.
And then the leader says, "My calculations, there's got to be a incursion, or they're coming for you, or something."
So that's the twist. So first of all, the funniest thing is the big twist of the movie is supposed to be Red Hulk, but he's all over the marketing. like,
oh yeah,
like the Red Hulk is supposed to be like the big twist. Like, imagine if Civil War, the whole imagine if the marketing showed Bucky killing Tony's parents. Like, that's the same thing. And so then yeah, the end credits scene is a leader being like, yes, my calculations say that the others are coming and you're not going to be able to stop the others. And that's whenever you realize the real twist to this movie. The real twist to this movie is this has been a remake of Batman v Superman the whole time. This has not been a ripoff of Civil War. This has not been a ripoff of Winter Soldier. This has been a ripoff of Batman v Superman this entire time. It is the same plot as Batman v Superman. It is the same plot, and the same problem with Batman v Superman is the same problem with this movie, which is the villain sucks. And then the fight that they've been building up with their marketing is only 5 minutes long. And then at the very end, you got the villain in prison talking about, you know, they're coming. You know, that's
yeah.
6 out of 10. Here, let me pull this up. This is my up-to-date tier list, and I actually feel pretty good about this tier list at this point. So yeah, I have this in C tier. It is above the Marvels, but below the Incredible Hulk. So
yeah. One of the things we failed to mention about the Red Hulk comic book earlier is there's these comic strips at the end of each issue with Red Hulk, Blue Hulk, Green Hulk, like Calvin and Hobbes type comic strips. They are awful. They are really, really bad, really unfunny. I was like, who are these for? I don't know. So, all right.
I hate the Red Hulk, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I am not a
Um,
fan of the Red Hulk.
of the media that I have experienced that have featured the Red Hulk, it's all been kind of garbo, all kind of ass cheeks.
It's not good. Um, so we need palate cleansers after this. So next week we're gonna try and watch a decent movie. And I believe it's The Apartment from 1960, starring Jack Lemmon,
Which I love Jack Lemmon, so we're already off to a good start.
and I think Shirley MacLaine
Yep.
is the other star. Um, and then after that, I decide we're just gonna start reading the best of the best with Marvel. Just being a character, reading their best stories for the next 4 months or so.
Yeah.
Um,
So it
we
essentially,
can't do this again. We can't
yeah,
read Red Hulk again. It
yeah.
almost killed the show.
Yeah, this so it's essentially we're gonna be reading just good Marvel. Whenever the Thunderbolts come out, we're gonna read Thunderbolts, and then around June at the I mean I got my bonus this week, and then I'm gonna be getting some form of raise here in a couple weeks. I'll be getting my DC Infinite yearly subscription, and then we're just gonna have a summer of DC, and I'm gonna make sure that we read the good stuff.
And I didn't even realize we planned this in April. Or get yeah, it's in April. We're reading Avengers Under Siege, and that's really like a prequel to Thunderbolts. So we kind of planned it perfectly
Oh, really? Okay.
because that's a Masters of Evil story, and then we'll get Thunderbolts, which takes place years later, but it's the same characters. So um, that'll be fun. So after we watch The Apartment the week after, we're gonna read Iron Man: Demon in the Bottle. I am
Yeah.
famously not an Iron Man fan, but let's see if that changes.
And I am. Oh wait, hold on. So you've never read Demon in a Bottle?
No,
Oh, okay. So I have read Demon in a Bottle. You're in for a treat.
yeah, I picked all stories that I think I've read Thunderbolts and I've read Runaways, but everything else, I think I've read a little bit of Star Wars Legacy too, also. So,
Hmm.
but we're gonna be reading Avengers Under Siege. We're gonna read some classic Black Panther, Demon in the Bottle, Runaways. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for the next few months. A lot of
Yeah,
good movies planned, TV shows. So,
we
uh,
we I was bored at work this week. We got ahead real far. We're like we have the next several months planned out.
yeah, and they are all bangers. They are all really good shows.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Um,
Well, I mean, hopefully Daredevil Born Again's good, but I think that's gonna be hard to mess that one up. You know.
yeah, yeah. So we learned our lesson with Red Hulk. We got to pick stuff that we want to enjoy that we know is good. Cause
Yeah.
you, I, it was bad. It
Yeah.
was really, really bad.
You know what? You know what's funny? I mean, I'm still gonna read Hush too. I'm so curious. I'm
I'll
so
probably read it too
curious.
eventually, depending on how outrageous it is. But yeah, so next week we'll be doing The Apartment, and we read Red Hulk, so you don't have to. We took a
uh,
bullet.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn.
Um, so do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, because we did this for you, our audience.
We did this for you, man.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
We'll catch you next time in the Shark Pond without Red Hulk.
See ya.